Alright, what's going on, guys? Try back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another Walking Dead video leading up to the start for Fear the Walking Dead Season 4, as well as we'll include some questions from The Walking Dead Season 8. But the big one for this one is going to be, do we think that Fear and the Walking Dead Fear group may be starting the Commonwealth? And so I do like this one. I thought we would do a video at least starting with this kind of concept. And if you're not familiar with who the Commonwealth is, they're still fairly new in the Walking Dead comic book series. They're quite a ways out for the Walking Dead TV series. Basically, they're a huge group. They have quite a few, I want to say, sort of rich elitist members. They have sort of a separated military group as part of them. And they have like 50,000 survivors in it. So it's pretty much the biggest community The Walking Dead has ever seen, and we're kind of still figuring some things out about it in the Walking Dead comic book series. So it's still a relatively new concept, and I think the big thing that brought on these questions for this one and kind of the fan theory is the idea that they appear to be filming in a stadium, or they've said that Fear the Walking Dead is going to be in a stadium in Texas for part of Season 4, and it looks like they're kind of setting up from the pictures a base camp there. So we'll see what that looks like. But in the Walking Dead comic book series, the Commonwealth do have a stadium as well too. So it's maybe it's just a start to similarities or things looking like they could fit between the two, but if they started kind of setting things up now with the Fear the Walking Dead group, we could see something like that. And of course, I think the best part about it is eventually you would get to see the groups meet in the shows without, not just one member like Morgan meeting the Fear group, but you'd actually get to see more like an entire group from the Walking Dead meet the Fear group in the series, which of course is something that I think now that the time frames have kind of caught up with each other, they're doing a time skip in Fear to get it at the same time set as The Walking Dead, that it's starting to sound a lot more likely like we might see more crossovers in the future, and possibly a whole crossover story arc where the two really intersect, or we see a meeting between a larger, amount of people from each group, which could be pretty cool. Donnie Blair sent this one through, says a couple of the pictures look like Madison and company are at the stadium. The one with Madison building a wall is in a dugout in a baseball stadium. Makes you wonder if Madison is going to start the Commonwealth. And then Zasmanreviews said something similar. Used to think the idea of Commonwealth being introduced through Fear the Walking Dead Season 4 was dumb, but now I see the potential. Imagine this. Morgan goes on to Fear the Walking Dead Season 4 and meets the Commonwealth where the Clarks have already set up shop, so to speak, which would be very cool. So we're going to have to see. I mean, it's been a long-running theory, I suppose, that the Fear the Walking Dead group could be the Whispers from the Walking Dead comic book series in the TV series, and you might see Madison as Alpha, this kind of thing. It's been a long-running fan theory, I want to say, for like 2 to 3 years, probably ever since Nick started to, wear the zombie guts and, kind of, walk around as part of the Walker herds that are out and about in the zombie apocalypse world. So, it's kind of fun to kind of discuss these kind of things and think about the ideas. Of course, they do have Scott Gimple now, who's overseeing all the different content for The Walking Dead. So coordinating things like this back and forth will probably be a lot more likely in the future, or a lot more kind of practical, than they would have been in the past, where both shows were kept pretty separate, and eventually they realized like that's probably not a good thing that they're so distant and they're so separate from each other. We should try to kind of help promote Fear the Walking Dead by using at least one character from The Walking Dead, like Morgan, rather than just killing him off or something. So and I think that the results from that will be really good this year. So we'll see how Fear the Walking Dead Season 4 looks when it starts, but I would think that it will help out a lot for Fear. So that's good news for everybody who likes Fear, because also you got to consider that if the show's ratings get so low that nobody's watching it at all, you might see it be canceled. Whereas by helping out Fear, by taking Morgan, bringing him in, having the crossover episode right after the finale for The Walking Dead Season 8, doing all these things they're doing to try to bring some of that audience over from The Walking Dead to Fear, it's only going to benefit Fear, and it's only going to give Fear a better chance at continuing on for many more seasons, rather than being a show that has to wrap up around Season 4, Season 5 type of time frame. So it's a cool theory. I like the idea, but again, the Commonwealth is so new in the comic book series that this would be the right time to start setting up for it. However, just because they both have, a stadium, and that's kind of one of these standout, locations for each community, doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to see that. And, I think we can probably say at this point, the Whisper theory is probably not true, or it's probably not correct that that we'll see the Fear the Walking Dead group become the Whispers, just based on timing and what they're doing with the shows. But, I'm kind of happy that they didn't go that route anyway, because getting to see Morgan cross over, getting to see Fear continue as its own kind of standalone series, and then also leaving open the door and the potential for future crossovers as well, too, I think is, it's fine in and of its own right. So I guess I'm saying, there isn't enough right now to say for sure, or, to even, there's probably more stuff in Fear the Walking Dead that would lead you to believe that they're the Whispers rather than starting the Commonwealth. But at the same time, it's all good stuff for people who want to see further crossovers in the future, and I think that's becoming more and more likely now that Morgan has kind of popped their crossover cherry. So, yeah, I said it. That's what it is. Next one's from Lost Light, who says, we haven't seen Daniel anywhere in the pictures, so I'm guessing he's dead. That's too bad. I liked his character. And that's the same thing with Taka, or Walker, who was in Season 3, who was a really great character as well, too. I like to see him a lot. I thought he was an awesome kind of villain at the start of that season. And some people are upset that obviously Troy won't be returning, which kind of sucks, too. So, yeah, it's unfortunate. There's some kind of fan-favorite characters from Season 3 of Fear, but I think that's that speaks to how great Fear Season 3 was, that you had so many things in it that people are going to miss certain characters because they enjoyed seeing them in Season 3. And I mean, likewise with The Walking Dead, you have characters like Merle and that are killed off. A lot of fun, but you can't have them on forever. You can't see them in the future. Daniel may be one of those. He may be one of those where he's in there the first few seasons of Fear, but you have the Clark family that heads off. They leave. And you have Daniel that kind of stays, in Mexico there, and then they head back to Texas or wherever they're going, and he doesn't go with them. I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense, and that may be the last we see of the character. We'll have to see if he's even in one episode in Season 4, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's kind of just let go as a part of this whole storyline kind of going through and everything. And I mean, he's been in a few seasons now. He's a fun character. I would like to see him continue in the series, but they can't bring everybody over. They can't have everybody cross over. They're bringing in new characters as well, too. Some standout actresses for this one. So, and then you have Morgan crossing over as well, too. So you can't have everybody. There's going to be at least one or two characters, I would think, that are kind of lost in this shuffle. I am pretty surprised to see Luciana's returning, because she would have been one for sure that I would have thought after Season 3 it was probably lost, as part of the story, and then they would head off without her, and she would just be somewhere, wherever. But we'll have to see if they explain everything through for that. I wouldn't be surprised if they skip over a lot of that, just due to filming locations and things like that, because if they're filming in Texas, and you have a lot of the story that happened in Tijuana or wherever that was with the dam, it's kind of difficult to to have those characters meet each other and then somehow end up there. You might have to skip a lot of the stuff that happens after the Season 3 finale, and we'll have to see how that goes and what that looks like. But, it's unfortunate Daniel won't be returning, but certain characters won't be, and that's just kind of the nature of when you're doing a big shift in a show like this, is some are going to get lost. But I don't think it's going to hurt Fear at all. If anything, I think it's really going to help get Fear kind of back on track. Even though, Season 3 for Fear was awesome, it's just that it wasn't as well received as it probably should have been. A lot of people at that point had probably already given up on it, and maybe this will help breathe new life into Fear, get people back into watching it, because even though Season 3 was incredible quality, I was trying to promote as much as I could through the channel when they're killing off certain characters and doing things like that you wouldn't expect, and telling people you got to watch the show. Season 3 is so incredible, but it still didn't work that much. Like, people didn't really. A lot of you guys do. You guys know that Season 3 of Fear was awesome. If you checked it out and you watched it, But in terms of the general, kind of viewing audience for AMC's TV station, TV channel, it didn't really do that much. So hopefully with Morgan, that's going to help things out a lot for Fear. And it is unfortunate Daniel's probably not going to be returning, but not everybody's going to get to carry through, right? It's just what it is. DarkMaeko says Season 4 of Fear looks better than Season 9 of The Walking Dead by a lot. And, maybe you're right about that. The thing is, I think with Fear is that it has the advantage, and it is an advantage, that it has not been as long running as The Walking Dead has. The Walking Dead original series has been over 100 episodes. It doesn't really have that new, fresh feel to it anymore, I want to say. I feel like I'm appreciative, and I'm really happy it's still on even, because I think it's really difficult for shows that are doing 16 episodes a year of hour-long blocks, where you got commercials included, but 42 minutes each episode, plus some extended, to really keep those shows, feeling fresh all the time. And, after this many seasons, Fear has a big advantage here where it feels super fresh this season because you have all these different things happening for it. And, new location, new characters, the meeting, and everything like that. And we'll see what they have in terms of villains and things like that. But, man, it really looks really great. Frank Harris says, hey, Trev, here's my question. The Walking Dead uses the comic book for source material, but Fear the Walking Dead does not. My question is, will they give Fear the Walking Dead story arcs from the Walking Dead comics? And they haven't really done that yet. There's been some things in Fear that felt similar or seemed to kind of parallel what they were doing at the same time in The Walking Dead, such as maybe Season 2 felt quite a bit like Season 2 of Fear with Season 2 of The Walking Dead, with Herschel and Celia kind of being very similar in some ways. But they haven't really done anything like straight out of The Walking Dead. But we'll see if this Commonwealth theory has anything to it, or we see some of those storylines adapted or given to Fear instead. Could be kind of cool, and we'll have to just wait and see what they do with it and what this looks like for the future for Fear. But I am really excited for it, and just really the whole idea of this whole crossover thing is really cool. Jacob Shmir Durban says, where the F is Sherry? So in the Walking Dead TV series, and that's true. She was, if you guys forget, she was with Dwight there earlier as part of the Saviors. Yeah, she hasn't come back yet, and it's been quite a while. So I would expect to see her back sometime, maybe later this season or season 9. I would expect to see Dwight going and looking for her or something like that after this is all done, after All Out War is finished, if he's still alive. So I do think we will see her again in the series, but it probably will be season 9 or very late this season. Same goes for Heath, right? He should be back near the end of this season as well, too. If nothing else, probably just to set up the start of the Whisperers in this finale or close to it. I360 Spartan says, what's up, Trev? Do you think Jadis will be the one to kill Simon in the season finale to get revenge for her people once she gets herself together? And yeah, I like that theory. I like the idea that Jadis will make it her mission in life right now, to her purpose, to go after Simon and somehow take him out. And I think we will probably see the death of Simon near the end of this season, but I could be wrong about that, so we'll have to see how that goes. Guga B07 says, but what if Simon, and this is kind of dark, so I think this kind of came from, the change in attire that she's wearing. So if you look at Jadis in episode 10, at the start when Simon is kind of reaming her out and killing everybody and stuff, she's wearing a certain thing, and then afterwards you see her wearing kind of like the artist, the white dress thing that she wears or whatever. I don't know, it's kind of weird, but you guys get what I'm saying. But kind of the question was whether or not he did stuff to her after it was kind of dark, right? So we can't say that. It was kind of all skipped over. I tend to say I don't think so. I don't think Simon would do that, but I don't know, man. I really I don't know. I don't know what to say about that one. I guess you could look at it that way. I didn't, but because she's just kind of weird, and sometimes Rick could just be like, she'd be like making these weird art pieces and stuff. So I think she probably would do that on her own, but I have no idea. Then the last one will be from Ronald UI, who says, hey Trev, I was curious about what you think in regards to Morgan going to Fear. I haven't really looked into this, but I'm assuming that Morgan in Fear takes place before he meets back up with Rick and Alexandra. It doesn't seem to be. Yeah, it doesn't look like that. So it looks like, okay, and then he asked, do you think we'll get a glimpse of Dwight or Dwayne's, I almost said Dwight, Dwayne's death in Fear? So that'd be cool if they did a flashback sequence for Morgan where we got to see the death of Dwayne. I think that could only help Morgan's character, but the problem is that, it's been so many years, and you'd have to bring him back to the same location, make it look the same, recast his son to try to make it look like he's the same kid, and maybe his wife as well too. So it'd be a little tricky to do. I don't think it'd be impossible. The wife would be easy because she's a zombie, so you can't really tell. But recasting corrupting Dwayne might be necessary in order to do that. However, I mean, you could do it, and it probably would help the character. That'd be a cool way to start Fear Season 4, wouldn't it? So I'd like to see that, but I think that when he meets the others, it's going to be after his time in Walking Dead. But I could be wrong, but that's the way I'm seeing things right now. But you guys can certainly write your comments below. After all the pictures, everything you've seen, do you think it's easy to say 100% at this point that Morgan will be meeting with the Fear group after All Out War? So leave your comments as far as that goes in the comment section below. That'll be it for this video today, guys. If you liked it, and I hope you did, please thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite, and if you're new and you want to subscribe to the channel, I would appreciate it. You can do it. You can subscribe at the bottom left. That's it for this one. I'll see you guys again soon for another. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace. I'll see you guys soon.